What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio and the DFS Picks Prediction Show. I would usually be Brady, but I am his formidable substitute, the paragon of virtue, Lou Betcha, filling in tonight on Wednesday. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., we break down the upcoming card from a DF perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to Pulp Sports so you do not miss out on the content throughout the week across this great channel. I am joined the panel by Monk, Gordo, and Uncle Weezy. Guys, start with you, Monk. What is your perspective on this card going forward?
I have a very narrow perspective. I'm zoomed in on exactly what I think this card is. Guys, it's going to be a banger. I mean, there's so many great fights on this card. First, you got the... No, this card is an amuse-bouche, if you will, to next week's card. We're all waiting on the UFC 280. This one will do after the week off, but we do have a couple interesting ones. There's a couple grappling matches that we might be a little bit interested in, and two guys that have no chin whatsoever, so can't wait to get into it.
Gordo, your thoughts, sir?
You know what, we had a week off, so this card just feels that much better. But Monk's right, it's not something really we're gonna go out there and pay $100 watch pay-per-view wise. The real main event is next week, that's for sure. But you know what? We had an opportunity to make money, opportunity to watch fights, and I'm really looking forward to it. We've had our time to break down the card, see what angles we like, and honestly, I feel ready. And I'm actually just really pumped to hear your opinions as well. I've missed seeing your faces, and Brady, you know, he may have gotten a little bit older, but he's gained wisdom.
Yeah, and Gordo, congrats on the sex, bro.
Thank you.
Why you would come at me is mind-boggling. And Uncle Weezy, fresh out of the car wash, joining us.
Yeah, fresh out of the shower. Traffic in Chicago is just absolutely awful, man. But this is a weird card, right? Like Monk was saying, it's not the best card from a betting perspective, but I mean, I think that there are a lot of really fun fights on it. And when I was looking at fights to fade this week on DraftKings, man, I mean, there's not a lot of good ones to fade, which means that as far as DraftKings go, it should be a really interesting card. Looking to see what you guys say. I've got my own little opinions over here, but we'll see how we all chop it up. But it's an interesting card from a DraftKings and a Prize Picks perspective.
Yeah, and before we get on, shout out to the chat. Brady is still, in fact, in my basement. The nice thing is for Brady, it's like a water wonder world where he can golf, he can go like water park. And then this is a handsome panel, especially Lou, who is like Sean Connery, but way cooler. Wow, thank you. That's high praise. I really appreciate that. So we've done the introductions. Let's get into it. Let's start with the first category, and that is fight to target. We will start with Monk because he is literally the guy below me on the video, and that way I can keep track of this really easily. Monk, your favorite fight to target?
Number one on the video and number one in each and every one of your hearts.
The hearts and minds of the fans.
The fight that I'm going to target, there is a few of them, but as I alluded to, two guys with no chin, Duško, Todorović, and Jordan Wright. I mean, if this one goes past 4 minutes, we're all going to be, throwing our unders out the window probably, and probably going to get something to eat, honestly, because this fight's pretty much going to suck unless it ends early. And there's no reason it shouldn't. Todorović scores, 3.5 a minute, 119 when he wins. Jordan Wright somehow has fantastic offensive DraftKings points. DraftKings numbers, 6.5 points a minute, 109 when he wins. I know that's few and far between, but he has won a couple of times. Both these guys actually score well over 1 point per minute in takedowns and control time. Can you believe it? I'm playing this one because of their chin, though. Todorović got KO'd by Chidi in his last fight. He KO'd Pitolo in the fight before that. He got KO'd by Puna, KO'd Towns. I mean, their last five is full of finishes here. Jordan Wright got subbed by Barrio. I mean, who gets subbed by Barrio? Bruno Silva KO'd him in the first round before that. Joaquin Buckley KO'd him. I mean, these guys don't go to decision is my point. And the last point that I will make on this one, the finish rates for these guys since 2021, they've had 7 fights total. 6 of them have finished inside the distance. 6 of them have finished in the first round. Optimal, whether them or their opponents have made optimal 4 out of 7 times. This is one of my favorite fights to target this week because they're both terrible, high variance. There's no way this goes past the first round. So give me Todorović and Wright as a fight to target.
All right. Duško Todorović, according to the best fight odds.
Todorović.
Jordan Wright. Gordo, what is your fight to target on this card?
I mean, that is, of course, the fight to target. It's a Jordan Wright fight. That's the fight you got to target. But let's throw in another one at you. Let's take Misha Cirkunov. He is going against Alonzo Menifield. Alonzo Menifield straight off of that win of Askar. I don't know. He has 8 different names. Askar Mozarov. It's
Fraudzarov.
Fraudzarov. Sure, let's say that. It's a really interesting style. A clash of styles. Sorry, I apologize for that mumbling up, but I think it's an interesting fight because you look at them. You got 17 of their 21 UFC bouts ending inside the distance, 15 of those ending for under 1.5 rounds. This fight screams violence. I mean, Misha Cirkunov has of course faced the better level of competition, so using that in his insane ground game, you can definitely think he has a path to victory at his price tag, which will score very well. The other side of things, his chin is very questionable. Alonzo Menifield, if he has one thing, that is power. Either way, I see one of these guys going to sleep and a finish happening one way or the other. Give me violence, and I think it scores very, very well. That is another fight to target. But of course, you got to target the Beverly Hills Ninjas fights.
Absolutely. Weezy, what is your pick? I wrote down 3. I really hope you don't take the other one.
Dude, there are so many you can target. I mean, like, this is probably the one you were going to say, though. It's Maximov and Malkoun, because these guys don't do anything but wrestle. Nick Maximov is averaging 4.92 Draftkings points per minute. Okay, in a decision win, that means he scores about 105 points. Jacob Malkoun is scoring 5.55 DraftKings points per minute. That's just bonkers. That's off the scales. I mean, right there, you're talking about 55 and 27, 75, 82 and a half, 112 and a half points in a decision win at that rate. So both of these guys are the kind of guys who will give up reverses. They will take people down and let them back up. I think there's going to be a lot of up and down in this fight, a lot of reverses, a lot of scrambles, a lot of wrestling, a lot of control time. And whichever side wins, I really feel like is going to be optimal here. So it's a really easy fight to target. And it's probably the 3rd best fight to target because the ones that you guys already mentioned are bangers and that probably where somebody's going to get finished in the first round. So there's a lot of great spots on this card.
All right, so I wrote down 3, and then each of you took all 3 of them. But
you did tweet it out publicly, though.
Well, yeah, I did. I showed my notebook of justice. But I'm
what the 4th one is, Lou? It's got to be Tyra Vergara, right?
No, well, no, because
damn it. All right, my bad.
No, I'm gonna go with what Weezy said though. I think Malkoun Maximov is not just the best fight to target in terms of it's weird picking a fight that I think is going to end in decision, but the winner of that fight is not only going to score a ton, but the salaries are so close. Like to take, like, I mean, when you're talking about Duško Wright, you know, if you take Wright, obviously, and like we'll talk about like the other categories as we go on. Menifield, Cirkunov's kind of close salaries, but like Maximov, Malkoun, you're kind of getting like no matter what you do in all your lineups, you're getting that same price point. Like more or less, and you know you're getting the same kind of output. Like you can get like a Maximov win or a Malkoun win with just dump and repeat in a decision is probably going to pay more than any of these other fights we mentioned if they go to the second round. Not that I think Wright's going to the second round, or Cirkunov's going to the second round, but I think that with the way the DraftKings scoring system is with the takedowns, the Maximov Malkoun fight is going to be 120 or 130 for the winner, and I'm gonna have 100% of that fight in all my lineups. But let's move on to something that's not as fun, and that is the fight to fade. We will start with you, Gordo, because A, you're on the order I have, and B, you're just looking so goddamn sharp and sexy today.
Oh. Well, I hope I look better than than my pick here, because it's really hard for me to put my foot down and pick a fight to fade, because I really do think that every single fight has potential to you can make a case for all of them. Let's just say that if I had to pick one to be my fight to fade, I'm going to actually go towards Martinez versus Swanson. I think Martinez has the ability to go out there and really just slow this fight down, and unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. I think that if I were to choose one of these two, and I think we'll talk about this with a fighter to fade, I will definitely be fading Martinez, because I think his win condition definitely does not score as well as the people around him, especially being sandwiched between Todorović and Menifield, really. So for me, it's hard to get to him. I think he has decent cash upside. Not even that. I think he's just a guy to fade in general. And if I was going to play any side of it, it would be Swanson. But it's completely realistic to think that Martinez could slow this fight down to be a very slow striking affair, which will not score very well on DraftKings. So that'll be my fight to fade.
All right, Weezy, your fight to fade.
Yeah, I really don't see anything else to fade, to be honest with you. I'd rather fade Martinez Swanson than I would Piero Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes, because at least in the Rodriguez Hughes fight, I feel like there's a much better chance that somebody wrestles. I think there's very little chance that anybody wrestles here. Brady sent me a tweet today saying that Dan Argueta was answering questions today for Cub Swanson because Cub was resting his voice.
Yeah, the weight cut's not going great.
A 38-year-old man who's cutting down to 135 it cannot even answer questions out loud in his speaking voice. I mean, this fight probably doesn't even happen, to be honest with you. I don't know why he's cutting down to 135, and it's scary to see a grown man say that he's resting his voice. These are people who beat the hell out of grown men who are killers for a living. They shouldn't ever rest their voice. Speaking is the easiest thing that these people do every day. This fight probably doesn't even happen. And if it does, there's very low wrestling upside. Neither one of these guys even averages 3 DraftKings points per minute. It's probably one of the lower scoring fights on the card. And with a very low wrestling upside, it's probably the easiest one to fade on this card.
Yeah, I had written that one down, so I will pivot to the second one that I put, and that is Victor Henry against Raphael Assunção. The reason I'm saying fade this one is I see no value on the Assunção side. He would need it. I mean, even Assunção with a salary, if he won a decision, I get it, but he's so low volume and there's no takedown upside that I don't see getting to his salary. And as far as Victor Henry goes, at his insanely high salary for this fight, he would need first round finish or either a lot of takedowns or just 200 strikes to really justify that salary. I realized Monk's going to tell me that 9,500 is one of the best salaries in DraftKings from doing shows with him every week. But that being said,
he's 93.
93. I still think he's very finish dependent to get there, especially on a card where there's so many lopsided finishes, and the one person that's near his salary in Alexa Grasso has 5 rounds to work with. So for me, Assunção is a total fade, and Henry, it's really hard to get to him at the salary with so many guys around him and under him that either have massive takedown upside or just have crazy first round finish potential. So for me, just to go a little different, Henry Assunção's my fight to fade. Monk, what is your fight to fade?
Yeah, I like that one. Henry is $2,400 more expensive than he was in his previous fight. That is an insane number. I'll switch it up. Yeah, definitely. I'll switch it up, and I'll go Askar Askarov and Brandon Royval. There's no way Askar Askarov he's $9,200 this week. He's the 3rd or 4th highest salaried guy. I know as of now, DraftKings Assist said that they had salaries up for Brito and whoever the fuck Brito is fighting. Well, that is not true. They are not up, but I assume he's going to be 9,400 and 6,700. That said, how you can pay 9,200 for Askarov when, like Lou said, the guys around him and under him are, have so much more upside. Guy doesn't even score 3 points a minute, 77 per win. I think Brandon Royval is way liver than the line would indicate. I think this line is insane, for lack of a better word. Askarov should probably win. He's probably going to land a takedown or two. Hopefully, since I'm slandering him and saying this is a fade, hopefully he only lands about 1 per round. But I think Royval really has a chance in the opening few minutes of this. His volume is ridiculous. So even in a 3-round loss, he could score very well. He scored against Bontarin? He beat Bontarin, scored 62. No, that's right. 62 points in that one. He did score decently against Schnell, 95, but Askarov just eats points up. Askarov's a guy that's going to win with 71 points. 89 points is what he scored against Benavidez. That's his career high by far. I just don't think either, short of Royval smashing this dude in the first round and making the optimal lineup at 7K, I don't see what either of them could do to make the optimal. So big fade on Askarov as a whole. And I like Royval's side, but I just think, like I said, Askarov is just going to, deflect points from being scored in this fight, kind of like Jonathan Martinez, as Gordo said. So give me the Askarov Royval fade.
Monk's a big raw dog guy.
Yeah, cool. What a cool nickname. So cool.
So we are on to the fighter to fade, and we will start with Uncle Weezy for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go with Raphael Assunção because I don't see how the hell he does anything. I mean, this guy, when he wins fights, loses you DraftKings tournaments. I mean, he's so bad in DraftKings. If you're looking for a guy that scores 46 points in a win, well, then, yeah, Assunção's your guy. If you like coming in last, yeah, pick Raphael Assunção. You know, if you just don't have big aspirations in life, and that's not for everybody, you know, not everybody's going to be king, you know, not everybody's going to be LeBron James on the basketball court. Not everybody's going to be Israel Adesanya in the cage. And, you know, there's somebody that finishes at the bottom of every DraftKings tournament, and that'll be you if you pick Raphael Assunção this week. So, yeah, that's who I'm fading.
I'm right there.
And Mushroom is right. Yeah, Mushroom nailed it. His name starts with ass.
Yeah,
and that's what your team will be.
And there's times in my life, and there's tons of situations in my life where I love ass. This is not one of those situations.
It's not one of them. That's right.
I also am fading Assunção, even if he wins this fight. Like you said, I think he's going to get battered. But even if he wins, I don't know what he scores in the decision, and I don't know what his path is. He hasn't shown a willingness to take people down, and the reason is because he's 40, because it saps his cardio. He can't get into that kind of game at this point in his career. So if he goes to the takedowns early, he has no cardio in the second, third round. If he doesn't, and he somehow out volumes Henry, which I'd be shocked, then he's still not scoring a ton of DraftKings points. He's not knocking Henry out. Never been finished. Dude's durable as hell. So I don't know. I don't know a path where he scores more than, you said 48. That sounds about right. But even if they get to that point where he wins the decision, I'm just not sure how he does it. So he's a total fade for me. He's 0% of my lineups. He might be the only person that's 0%. It's amazing we haven't talked about Mike Jackson, but we got two people on the panel with fighter to fade. So let's see if that can happen. Monk, you are up next, sir.
Dude, I'm going to go with Brandon Davis because he sucks. He's just bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't even have to really say anything else. But
I value your expert analysis, and that is bad.
2 points a minute, 82 when he does win. And he, believe it or not, he has won in the UFC. 2 out of his 8 total fights. He just came back kind of like who fought the other week? Jesse Ronson, you know, how he did so well in his first stint in the UFC, then went and fought a bunch of bums, came back, and he's performed excellently ever since then. We have another textbook case of that right here. Brandon Davis comes back after being demolished by everyone like Zabit, Kyung Ho Kang, Giga Chikadze. He did beat Randy Costa, if that tells you anything about Randy Costa that you didn't already know. But then he comes back and gets absolutely demolished by Danaa Batgarel. I know Bert's going to be mad at me at that pronunciation. I apologize, but I'm just thinking about how bad Brandon Davis is right now. He just does not score well, gives up 4 points a minute, 98 per loss. Give me Mana Martinez all day here. I know he got smashed up by Ronnie Lawrence pretty good in his last one, but he did beat Guido Canetti, which that just like Guido Canetti is aging very, very well. So I don't trust Killer B at all. He's going to go 0-2 in his rebound into the UFC, and he probably did sign a 3-fight contract, so we're going to be able to fade him probably one more time before he is out of fighting for good. So here's a good chance. Put Mana in your lineup, and short of a gruesome accident in the octagon, I don't see how Brandon Davis wins this fight, let alone makes the optimal lineup. So big fade on Killer B this week.
So what you're saying is, let's not go Brandon.
Let's not go Brandon, guys.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, let's not go Brandon.
Weezy, I'm sorry. The joke needed to be done more than once. It was so good. Gordo, finish this off with the fighter to fade.
You guys are not holding back today. I'm here for it.
I just want Brady to understand that when I guest host for him, he knows what he signed up for, and he's like, "Oh my goodness."
Well, compared to last week where we were calm and we had our fair share of dick saws in the other on the other stream. it didn't go that well for me. So maybe we keep this. Maybe I can actually not roster Randy Costa and do well. But I'm going to keep mine short. I'm not going to be as critical because I'm picking a favorite that I'm fading here. But I'm fading Jonathan Martinez. Talking about it earlier and keep it short. Think his pace, his style, really just slows fights down. I think his win condition is only going to score around, let's say, like the 70 to 80 point range. Not going to be anywhere near as good as the people around him in Duško, in Menifield, especially if they win. So complete fade on them. But I don't blame you for fading and let's go Brandon. So all power to you. But I'll be fading Jonathan Martinez up top.
I am video clipping you saying "Let's go, Brandon" and playing it on repeat. This trap finally worked.
I had to Google what that meant when I was at Columbus, by the way. Yeah. Canadians,
hey, I'm there with you, bud.
So I will be passing on this next section as I don't have prize picks available to me in Pennsylvania, but we will really quick run through your prize picks. I'll start with Monk. I'll just make this one easier because then I will lead off favorite dog by the way I have this set up. So Monk, who's your favorite prize picks play of the week?
Man, I was telling you guys before the show, I have 8 of them written down. I forget which one Gordo said he was going to take, so I'll just go opposite. I'm Askarov under 88.5 fantasy points. Even if he wins, this is like a 90% chance of happening. So I also like Royval to stand a chance in that fight and possibly pull the upset. So even more of a reason to like the under Askar. He scored 89 against Benavidez. Like I said, it's like Price Picks just sees that last win and they're like, set it at that number. No, he's not doing that again.
Okay. Gordo, your prize pick, sir?
Yeah, man. Come on. By the way, I'm in Ontario. I don't have DraftKings or Prize Picks. I'm still out here grinding, Lou. I'm just kidding. You got a cute face. You're good.
Professional.
I'm taking Nick Maximov over 68.5 fantasy score. That pace, that style of fight is going to be really fun for DraftKings purposes, and I do think he pulls out the win. So I think that number is way too low. Give me Nick Maximov over.
Okay, Weezy, you want to finish off the triumvirate here?
Yeah, I was just looking at Askarov 3 takedowns, and I think he gets a lot more than 3. I think he gets 3 takedowns in the first round, but there's another one that's really interesting here. It's almost as funny as Ilir Latifi's 65 significant strikes 2 weeks ago, but it's Nick Maximov 37.5 significant strikes. Nick's going to need about 4 fights to get 37.5 significant. He'll get 37.5 takedowns before he gets 37.5 significant strikes. Okay. So yeah, under 37.5 significant strikes is easy for Nick Maximov. And I also like Askarov to get over 3 takedowns.
Okay. I like all those. We had talked about this. I know this isn't a prize pick things, but whatever, like basically any Askarov, I don't know why Gordo's yelling at me.
His fight time is 12.5.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the train! Whose train is coming through? Who was that? I definitely heard
you're a train.
Okay,
it's a soundboard, you guys. It's a soundboard.
I heard somebody running train. Anyway, let's move on to the next category before I put in my Marshall, Louisiana bet. Favorite dog. I will start this one off. It is my turn. I have 2 written down because we just talked about them. Give me the raw dog, man. Give me Brandon Royval. I'll say 2 things about this fight. Weezy and I talked about this on Probability on Monday. Look, the 2 times Royval's been finished. One was an injury to Moreno, and one was against Pantoja, who was got to be one of the most underrated beasts in the UFC. Askarov's fight against Kai Kara France, he slowed down. And if you look at his DraftKings score, I think it's a very telling and accurate statement as to how he fights. He's so one-dimensional that I think Royval, he can throw some random weird stuff in there. He can keep him off pace. He's going to be more active on the feet. He can scramble out of problems. I think, and when this hits the 3rd round, as I think it'll go to decision, I think Royval's going to look crazy, and he could score a ton of points late. I love Royval outright in this fight. I think he's a great live bet spot, but give me Brandon Royval at his price point at 7,000 to break the slate. I know I have a feeling some of you guys are going to say a certain ninja but he ain't my ninja for this. So
Brady's not here.
Give me Brandon Royval. Monk, who's your favorite dog of the card?
I love that pick. I'm going Jacob Malkoun. That's the other, there's a few obvious ones. I think possibly someone in the main event as well. But Jacob Malkoun, obviously, if Maximov, one of these guys is going to score 120, 130 points. One of these guys is going to have a ton of takedowns. One of them is going to have a ton of control time. Maybe not even probably. Just there's a chance it could be Maximov. There's a chance it could be Malkoun. So at these prices, you got to play the dog here for the potential. I mean, like I said, the winner of this one could easily score 110, 120 or more. So give me a ton of Malkoun. Where I don't have Maximov, I'm probably going to have Malkoun.
Right, Malkoun for Monk. Gordo, what do you got for your favorite dog of the card?
Yeah, those are my two as well. So I don't know. Maybe I was at that same bar you were and you saw my page. Who knows? I'm just playing. Let's go to my third option. Let's go Misha Cirkunov as the third one. Maybe because that's just the closest thing to a Canadian we have on the card, training out in Niagara Falls there. But no, I do think that you do the tape, you watch that night fight in particular, you can definitely see paths of victory for Cirkunov. Not only has he fought the better level of competition, but if Alonzo Menifield wants to give up the same positions to Cirkunov he did to William Knight, fight's going to be over. Drastic changes in level of competition. I just think that although he may have a glass jaw and could potentially be knocked out, his ceiling is insanely high for Misha Cirkunov. I do think he has very good upside in this spot. I don't mind him as a dog.
All right. And Weezy, finish it off, man.
That's why I love working with professionals, because those are my three favorite dogs. Royval, Malkoun, and Cirkunov in that order. And you guys all broke it down perfectly. I'll just say Royval again, because of what I'm seeing in this fight is
I win.
You don't win shit. I'm like in third place in this fucking pile. So, but either way, this guy causes chaos when he's on the feet, and he's very difficult to hold down. And when you look at Askarov, he is a guy who spams takedowns. He's averaging about 10 takedown attempts per fight. But he's never really holding people down more than 300 out of the 900 seconds that he's fighting. And this could be a case where if he's not getting over 350 seconds of control time here, what's going to be happening while they're on the feet is that Royval is going to be bringing so much chaos and throwing with so much power, and the dude never gets tired either. So it's going to be a very interesting fight, and I think it could wind up being very close. I think Askarov's best path is by decision, and I think Royval could potentially get a finish by submission and also could potentially get a win by decision by just winning enough of each round when Askarov isn't controlling him. But Askarov is also going to get a lot of takedowns in this fight. Royval has below a 50% takedown defense, so I think it's a great fight to target as a whole, because I think it's going to be a high volume grappling heavy fight where there's a lot of ups and downs and potentially a lot of reverses and submission attempts. But yeah, Royval at 7,000 for the amount of chaos that he brings, for the conditioning that he has, for the durability that he has. I think it's a very safe play in a cash game.
Absolutely. And he's not getting finished. I mean, it's not, his floor is pretty good, like you said. We will move on to the favorite GPP play of the day. Monk, start us off with our favorite GPP play.
A lot of people are on this underdog, and I just don't see it, honestly. A lot of people talking about CJ Vergara this week, how he's so cheap and this, and that. I'm on the Tetsuya Tyra side, honestly. I think this guy is a great GPP play. I think he has potential to finish the fight early. Scored almost 4.5 points in his fight against, Candelario, who's a decent fighter in his own right. 96 is what Tyra put up in a 3-round decision. He landed, 57 significant strikes. He landed a knockdown. He landed a takedown. And he had 46% control time, guys, out of 15 minutes. That's, about 7 minutes of control time in that fight. Looked really fantastic. He's 22 years old, undefeated with an extended amateur record as well. I just really like him in this fight. I think at 9,100, he is a decently priced favorite. He was 9,000 in his fight against Candelario, and he showed that he handled that well. Vergara does allow 3.33 points per minute. And did lose to Ode Osborne, did not allow a ton of points, but that one did go all 15 minutes. I think Tyra could score a lot better than Ode Osborne did. So I just have a feeling, I look at the higher end salary guys for this category. We got Pete Rodriguez at 95. Are we sure he's gonna even win? So that's a no. We have no salary for Joe Anderson Brito. I assume he'll be 9,400. He's fighting, he has 2 fights in the UFC. He's fighting a guy with no fights. Total high variance right there. I just think Tyra fits in really well as far as a nice, solid GPP play. Could score a ton of points in this one. And I really like him over Vergara here. And I think he's going to be under-owned, to be quite honest. So a bonus there for me as well.
All right, Monk with Tyra. Gordo, what do you got for the favorite GPP play?
And of all of my options, that was not the one I thought was going to be stolen from me. I am loving Tetsuya Tyra this week, purely because of that ownership. So many people on the CJ Vergara side bringing that down, and you have to look at the path to victory for Tyra. You have to assume it's going to be a submission there. I think it scores very well. I think he's going to be really sneaky. I love that play, Monk. If I have to get a bit different, let's go Mana Martinez, 8.5K. You talked about Bum Davis, whatever you called him. I don't think Davis is that much of a bum. I do think he has decent abilities, but I think that Martinez is a level above. I think he's got power, ability to get knockdown points, finish points here. And I think that even at range, he's the better minute winner. I think Mana Martinez wins this fight at a pretty high clip and will go a bit overlooked considering the people around him in Maximov, Duško, et cetera, et cetera. So not a bad GPP play to get a bit different there, Mana Martinez.
All right, Martinez for Gordo. Weezy, what do you have for favorite GPP?
Yeah, I can't believe I'm third and this guy got to me. But I mean, Duško Todorović, that if the guy who puts Vaseline on Jordan Wright's face doesn't knock him out first, I think Duško is going to get him quickly, very shortly thereafter that point. And I mean, I could see him blowing out an ankle, going up the 3 stairs to get into the octagon. He could get a finger caught in the cage. There's a lot of things that could befell Jordan Wright before Duško Todorović shaves his ass. But if none of those things happen and Jordan Wright does make it into the cage, that 37% striking defense and that 4.76 knockdowns absorbed per 15 minutes makes me feel very confident about Duško Todorović at $8,600. You'd think he'd be priced up over $9,000. Then you throw this in there, you guys. Jordan Wright's ground game is absolute trash. And Duško's a really good black belt. He does his best work at the UFC level when he's taking his opponents down. I think Duško by submission is live. I think he can get a ground and pound knockout. I think if he doesn't really like how it's going on the feet early and he thinks that Jordan's too explosive early, he could just take this dude down. And that might even be a higher scoring path to victory than him just going in there and sleeping this dude with the first punch he throws. So I like Duško a lot as a GPP play this week.
Okay. So Weezy has Duško as this GPP play. So for my answer, I mean, the idea of at least my interpretation of the GPP play is who's the guy that wins you a tournament? And my answer is the exact opposite of what Weezy just said. Give me Jordan Wright at his salary. I'm saying this. Look, this is not a matter of do I think Jordan Wright's better. First of all, I don't think Duško is like great. I get that Jordan Wright has a glass chin. But if you're talking about winning a GPP, for me, obviously you have to take some risks. And on this card, we're talking some dogs like, Royval. We've talked about Cirkunov. Jordan Wright, his price point, his win condition is 120 points, 110 points. So if you can get that much more over his salary and he pulls it off, he opens up so many more windows in your lineup. So again, this is not about that I think he's going to win. I think, Weezy brought it up. I think Duško's very likely to win this fight and very likely to win it violently and early. But Jordan Wright is also live for a 1-minute finish. And he could put up absolute insane score in his win condition. So for me, a GPP play is I have to go different to win the 100K. And that's what I would do here is you have to have some Jordan Wright in your lineups, even if you don't think he's going to win. Again, he is, he is the guy you have to, even Weezy, you have to roster him in something.
Yeah, you absolutely target a guy who has never won a fight past, 6 minutes into the fight. It means if he wins the fight, the dude's going to chalk up a ton of points. And the guy's very dangerous early. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look, if Duško isn't in your lineup, Jordan Wright probably should be. It's a fight that you target both sides of.
And he is a dude, I should mention, he is a guy that hurt Bruno Silva within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And a lot of their guys would have wilted. And one of those guys I think would have wilted is Duško Todorović would have wilted under this. But let's move on to favorite cash game play. Gordo, let's start with you. Your favorite cash game play for the slate.
In cash, we're probably going to go with the main event, Alexa Grasso. I think she has the volume, the pressure, the boxing combinations, and 5 rounds to work with to make her a very good cash option. I think she wins this fight at a pretty high clip. Going to keep it simple as that. I think Grasso has the ability to have a really high floor this week, especially with the 5 rounds. I think she does very well.
All right, Weezy, your favorite cash game play.
From what I'm looking at my lineup here, I would just say Victor Henry. I mean, like, what this guy did to Barcelos was just unbelievable, in my opinion. I was picking Barcelos to shave ass this week, or that week, against Victor Henry. And what Victor did to him was unbelievable. And I was listening to Brandon Olivas, who happened to be working with Santino DeFranco, cornering somebody on that card. I think it might have been Vanessa Demopoulos. He said that when he saw Victor Henry backstage before the fight, that he had a big bet on Hani Barcelos. And when he saw Victor Henry backstage, he knew immediately before the fight that he was going to lose that bet. He said the look on Victor Henry's face and his whole demeanor was that he was pissed off that he had to go out there and fight this guy, Barcelos, because he was so much better than him. And the fight was already won in his mind. And then you saw him go out there and do what he did. This is a guy making his UFC debut at 35 years of age after fighting all over the world. He didn't feel the pressure of that situation at all. Taking a Hani Barcelos fight on short notice. This guy Barcelos has been like minus 500 against everybody he's fought in the fucking UFC. And Henry landed 180 significant strikes against him in 15
It wasn't even
minutes.
It wasn't even competitive.
It wasn't. And I think that, if this was a 40-year-old Raphael Assunção, he'd have been knocked out at the end of the first round. I think Victor Henry probably finishes this dude probably pretty quickly. And I think he's going to make it look really fucking easy because this guy, Assunção, is somebody who relies on his opponent to be hypnotized and to also do nothing in order to win those low volume staring contests. Like he's like a bantamweight version of Shamil Abdur-Rahimov, but Victor's not going to let him be in a low volume striking contest. He's going to go out there and probably just piece this dude up until he quits.
Yeah, I hear you. So my favorite cash game play, it was mentioned before, is Tetsuya Tyra. I feel like there's no chance he gets finished here. Vergara is not a big finisher. The matchup's very in favor of Tyra here. I think at his salary, if he doesn't get a submission, he's going to backpack him easily the very first 2 rounds. He's going to dominate. He's going to rack up control time. We haven't seen Tyra extended. Obviously, there's very limited tape on Tyra going deep into fights. We've seen Vergara survive, but if you look at Vergara's fights, Ode Osborne, I mean, kind of sucks. I'm just going to put it out there. Osborne sucks and he's a gasser. And I don't know that he beat Cledson Rodriguez. Very tight fight. I think Tyra will probably wrap up the sub. But even if he doesn't, I think he wins a comfortable decision with a lot of takedowns and a lot of control time. I think he's very safe for cash games here. I think he 10Xs in a decision win. So for me, I know my other thing I had written down was Grasso, because she's at 5 rounds to work with. And I think Grasso is very live for a finish past the second round. But for me, I think Tyra could just dunk this guy on his, like, you almost want Tyra to win by decision because that means he's getting like 15 minutes of control time in that fight. But give me Tetsuya Tyra as my favorite cash play. Monk, finish us off, man.
Cash play. I love the Henry side, Grasso. All 3 of them really great plays. First of all, let's shout out Mushroom in the chat. I mean, the OG Mushroom in the chat. My guy, we're working with a little strawberry lemonade today, but it doesn't taste anywhere as good as your timeline looks on a daily basis. My God. Soft bacon for life.
Did you hear what he was talking shit about you? I had to defend you earlier.
What?
Yeah. Mushroom was talking shit about you. He said that Monk He ain't fit to live with the pigs. And I said, oh, yes, he is.
I appreciate you sticking up for me like that. And we're gonna have to see what
We're
Mushroom's all about.
We're partners. We're co-hosts.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. You did.
He also said you like to eat shit on rye. And I'm like, nah, motherfucker hates rye.
I do hate rye. That is true. Brown bread can take a hike. I tell you that much. Sourdough boy right over here.
We're a pumpernickel show, motherfuckers.
Jesus Christ. Maybe something that doesn't taste like dirt. I'm going to go with Mana Martinez as our fourth option here. We already talked about him a little bit. Again, this is a cash game play because I think he beats Brandon Davis probably every single time he steps in the octagon with him because, again, Brandon Davis is bad. Am I right? He's bad. Martinez is only 8,500.
News alert. He's bad.
Well, pew.
He's bad.
Martinez, I mean, scores decently. Like I said, Brandon Davis gives up 4 points a minute, 98 when he loses. Gives up almost 2 points a minute in takedowns and control time. His strength of schedule is dog shit. He's lost 4 out of his last 5 in the UFC. Who cares what he did outside of that? I think, unfortunately for Brandon Davis, all seriousness aside, or all joking aside, he's only 32 years old, but I think this is a 32-year-old man who's already past his prime, which is scary. So, the younger you are and you look like you're older than that in the octagon, that is never good, especially when you're fighting a guy who's 26 years old and looks like it in Mana Martinez, the way he moves, the agility that he has, the energy that he has. I think it's unmatched by Brandon Davis in this fight. And I think Mana Martinez in a decision looks good. I think he could even get this one done inside the distance. I believe Lou was talking about that earlier. I totally agree with that. Give me Martinez as a decent cash game option here to go along with your guys' wonderful picks.
Monk and I will talk way more about that fight Friday. I have some very interesting, weird takes on that. But
nice.
But let's move on to the favorite value. Unless Gordo, I didn't miss you for this, right? All right, dude, you're so sharp looking today with that hat.
It's throwing Lou off his game. He doesn't even know he's like, where did I start?
I'm questioning a lot about my life.
I've been staring at Gordo this whole time. I don't know whose turn it is.
I'm questioning so many things that I've known from my 44 years on the planet. Let's move on to favorite value. And I believe this is Uncle Weezy will lead us off. Favorite value play of the day.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to steal anything from you guys because I guarantee that nobody else is going to pick this one. But I'm
well, you're also first.
So stop it. Yeah. I was going to. That's the beautiful thing here is that you guys aren't going to have to audible at all because nobody is going to pick Piera La Fiera Rodriguez in this spot, and that's okay, man. I'm going to do my own thing here. Piera Rodriguez has attempted 17 takedowns in just 2 UFC fights, one of them being the DWCS fight. I think she's going to be the much better grappler here. I think she's going to be the much better wrestler here and the much more likely lady to win minutes with the grappling, wrestling, and control time positions. Sam Hughes has 41% takedown defense. She has done a very, very bad job of preventing her opponents from winning minutes in grappling exchanges. Now, we've seen Sam round out her game in the last 2 fights, but those 2 fights are against Estela Nunez and Elise Reed. Neither one of them could grapple their way out of a paper bag. So you would see Sam Hughes rounding out her game against that level of opponent of grappler, but Piera Rodriguez is above that level. And we saw her actually win a lot of exchanges on the ground with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt and Kay Hansen, who is thought of mostly as a pure grappler, but yet Piera got takedowns in that fight and one time on top as well. I think if she's able to get multiple takedowns in this spot, and why shouldn't we suggest that she can when Sam Hughes has been taken down 7 times on only 12 attempts? If Piera is able to get multiple takedowns in each round, I think that 8,600 is very cheap for her. I like her to win this fight quite a bit because I think not only is she the better striker, landing the more powerful shots on the feet, I think if she ever gets uncomfortable on the feet, she can easily get this thing to the ground. Love her to win the fight. Love her to score big on DraftKings.
It's a great pick, Weezy. I'm going to go $300 less and take Nick Maximov as my favorite value. I think he's never getting finished in this spot. Malkoun is not a finisher. I will break down this fight more the next 2 days on various shows that I do on the MMA Engine. But I think this is a smash spot for Maximov. I think he is going to score so insanely well. And at 8,300, this is insane value for a guy that, and it's crazy because I'm watching the betting lines. Like, there's some money coming in on Malkoun, and just wait till I hear. Just Monk, you're going to enjoy my breakdown tomorrow with this fight. But I just think Maximov, this is all day at like one way, and at that price point, and I like Pierre Rodriguez a lot too. Like Weezy brought her up. I think she's going to have a ton of upside, and she's probably going to be really low owned, which is a great point for Weezy's like spot for value. But man, Maximov, for what he can put up, even in a loss, what he can put up is going to be crazy. But in a win, I mean, like I said before, he's looking at 120 in a win on an $8,300 salary. I love it. He lets you get to so many other people in your lineup. So give me Maximov all day as my value spot. Monk, favorite value spot, sir?
Value spot. So I'm looking for a guy that's going to be low owned, that's going to possibly perform well, maybe even. I mean, there's one answer here, guys, and he's not the hero that we want, but he's the hero that we need. It's going to be Mike Jackson, guys. Mike Jackson at $6,700, and the Lou goes crazy. That's right. It's going to be Mike Jackson. He's going against Pete Rodriguez. These guys have 7 professional fights between the two of them. 7 miles an hour. Pete Rodriguez, you can't, I mean, just because he's 9,500, guys, I invented salary voodoo. I am the curator of said voodoo. 9,500 is the best salary to play by far. It's got an over 90% win rate. It makes optimal 50% of the time. It's Pete Rodriguez, guys. You can't trust him. He nicknamed himself Dead Game. You're going to put this dude in your lineup, he's dead game. Mike Jackson, if there's ever been a value play, it's here. He's probably going to be less than 10% owned, I would imagine. If he wins, I mean, he's the only guy since I've been doing salary voodoo that has not only, well, 2 people have won fights at $6,700, him and Rafa Garcia. He's the only guy that has made the optimal at $6,700, and he got yam bagged right onto it by Dean Barry. There's no reason it can't happen again. Pete Rodriguez sucks. Mike Jackson sucks. No.
Give me 5 cents.
It's coming out of the company account. Give me Mike Jackson for value. If he wins, it's going to be people crying all over your timeline again. This shit could happen 2 times. Are you kidding me? Pete Rodriguez, what are you guys doing? He's minus 700. This is insane. Mike Jackson, value play.
I love you.
Thanks, I appreciate
that.
Love
you, boss. Gordo.
I can't bring
Gordo, follow that.
I can't, dude. I can't bring that same passion or emotion. Luckily for me, my 2 people I've written down, you won't believe me on this one, are 2 people who have already been spoken for, Maximov and Weezy. You guessed wrong. I did have Pierre Rodriguez as an under or as a value play. A lot of love for Sam Hughes, and that's kind of the same reasoning. I'm taking Pierre Rodriguez the same way as for Tyra. She's getting the underdog's getting a lot of love here, so I think they're going overlooked. Both of them have decent upside, but the original play is Nick Maximov. Lou talked about him enough. He has wrestling upside. He has control time upside. I think he wins this fight in his own right. So at $8,300, I think he's way too cheap.
All right. Well, we got one category left. This is the dart throw. I believe this is me. God, I mean, I had written down Mike Jackson. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I have so many hilarious things to say tomorrow about it. But yeah, what's a yam bag win gonna get you in points? 90?
It's happened. We have the data for this.
And look, and look, like for anybody listening, yeah, I'm not Brady, I'm not Weezy, I'm not Gordo, I'm not Monk. You know what I am? I'm Lou. By God, betcha. And if there's one thing that Lou Betcha knows, it's ball shots, and it's winning by nefarious means. And Michael K. Jackson, I'm guessing his middle name.
Sure, probably.
Sure. Right. Michael F.K. ESQ Jackson. Motherfucker knows how to win by DQ. And he knows how to win. And more importantly, for your scoring, he knows how to win by first round DQ. So he'll get you that 90 points for the first round. And I'd like to think that now that Mike Jackson has won by DQ once, he will now know how to win in the first minute by DQ and get you that extra 25 points for a first round disqualification.
He's a pioneer.
All joking aside, and again, I'm going to break this fight down a lot more this week. He seems aware of like some things to do in the cage, and that when he gets rocked, he goes for takedowns or tries to close the distance. If this thing gets extended, even in a decision win, it's because he's laying on Pete Rodriguez. It's because Rodriguez's cardio is bad. It's because he knows I do not want to stand with this guy. If I can take him down and do nothing and just do control time, that's great. And for a guy at his salary at I believe his salary is $900 for DraftKings. He has the same salary as like a backup quarterback he has the same back salary as Tua this week in DFS. Tua is not playing. He has the same salary as Tua, basically. I think a guy that at least, I mean, Dean Barry cracked him tons. And what did he do? At least went for takedowns, at least closed the distance. Could he take this dude down if the fight gets extended? I'll tell you what, he's going to score an F ton of points in the second and third round if Rodriguez's cardio isn't good. So could he win you a GPP? Yes, absolutely. Hey, Monk, has he won somebody a GPP before?
I think probably 7 people, all 7 people that picked him.
Well, there you go, man. So give me Mike, by God, Jackson as my dart throw. Monk, who's your dart throw?
We will go with somebody that I probably think is going to be very low owned and overlooked, mostly because he's dropped 4 of his last 5, all but 1 by finish, and that's Misha Cirkunov. I like his chances in this fight. I'm not disparaging Mr. Cirkunov in any way. If Menifield happens to start to slow and can't get him out in the first, I think Menifield could be in a lot of trouble here. But Cirkunov has that slate breaking ability. He probably is going to be 14, 15, probably less than 20% owned if I had to guess. Like I said, dropped 4 of his last 5, put himself in an armbar against Wellington Turman, lost to Jotko, lost to Span, lost to Johnny Walker. But still, offensively, he scores 4.38 points a minute, 108 when he wins. So when he knows how to get the job done, and when he does get the job done, he scores very, very well. In fact, even though he is 1-4 in his last 5, in his 1 win, he did make the optimal lineup, subbing Jimmy Crute in the first round. So, like our guy Kevin Garnett says, anything is possible, especially against Alonzo Menifield. You can't tell me what you're going to get in an Alonzo Menifield fight. You cannot tell me. This is the guy who fought Fabio Charant, or not Ed Herman, sorry, for 3 full rounds, 15 minutes. Herman stayed on his feet.
Can you say his name correctly, please?
Edward Herman.
Short Fuse.
Herman. Or Ed Short
Fuse. The best nickname ever.
Yeah, Short Fuse lasted for 15 minutes. So you can't tell me what Menifield's going to do. Sure, I like Cirkunov's chances at this salary, at his potential ownership. I hate using the word slate breaker, but he could do very well in a win, and definitely worth a dart throw. Probably 2 dart throws, in my opinion.
In all fairness, I just want to say they literally told Menifield, you have to leg kick Herman 1 more time and we'll stop the fight. And then he threw no leg kicks.
And he was like, I'll show you a thing or two about leg kicks.
I mean, I had like time props, and I'm like, he literally can throw 1 more leg kick and win this fight. They're like, nope. Gordo, who is your dart throw?
Fun fact, upon looking up what Mike Jackson's middle name is, I learned that his real name is actually William, and that Mike is actually his middle name. So his name is actually William Jackson.
I'm fading him completely now. I like to change all my bets.
Billy Jack?
Yeah, jeez. I considering, you know what? I kind of got another live stream soon. We're going to keep this one really short. I'm taking Lucas Alexander as my dart throw. No salaries out yet, so it's going to be tough for me to really give you a proper breakdown.
At NA? At not available?
Yeah, that's the best salary, right? 0, right? Free square.
Cost you nothing.
Yeah, that's a great. Well, if he's 0, I'm playing him.
Point being is, what's his ownership going to be? Who knows? I think he's going to have much. I think he's a very, very low ownership here. Brito's a known commodity, especially with the late addition. So I think that due to pure ownership, you got to take a little shot on Lucas Alexander.
All right, Weezy, finish this off, man. Your dart throw.
Yeah, I mean, I like all those picks. Cirkunov is absolutely live because I think a lot of people are giving up on him and they're forgetting that Alonzo Menifield is not good really at anything. Like the last 3 wins that he has are against guys who should not have been in the UFC at all.
He's good at showing up.
You know,
He's good at showing up.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's winning the fights that he's supposed to win. You can't blame him for the fact that he went out there and shaved Askar Mozarov's ass and Short Fuse's ass and Fabio Charant's ass. But, you know, I mean, he lost to William Knight. He probably won that fight. But Misha's good, man. He's a really good wrestler. He's a really good submission grappler, so I could see him easily getting him out of there. And the dictionary definition of a dart throw this week is Mike Jackson. Pete Rodriguez's pro career spans 7.5 minutes. You know, it's ridiculous, dude. So you can't lay $9,500 on somebody that you literally know nothing about. And, you know, the guy's best win is against an Uber Eats driver. So, look, I just don't see this being a great spot to go to spend your money. So why not Jackson? Why not Cirkunov? They're both great dart throws this week.
I wonder what Lift Eats charges. Is that even a thing? I don't know. But I'm supposed to go over last week's lineups, but I didn't have a lineup last week, and I assume Brady had them. So y'all can wait. So we're just going to get Gordo out of here and go with our this week's lineups. If there's any questions in the chat, it doesn't seem like there are, but ask away. If it's about my razor, it's Remington. I don't use it very often, so don't bother asking that question. Once a month, whether I need it or not, is the answer to the next question that would follow that up. But let's go over lineups this week. I will lead this off just because why not? I have Maximov. Oh, we're going to do picks at the end too. Sorry, I don't do this very often. I have Nick Maximov, Tetsuya Tyra, Alonzo Menifield, because I'm an idiot. Just putting that out there. Brandon Royval, Jordan Wright, Alexa Grasso. That is my lineup. That's going to be my prime lineup this week. Monk, what do you got?
I've got Victor Henry, Tatsuro Tyra, Duško Todorović, Nick Maximov, Viviane Araujo, and Brandon Royval.
All right. Gordo, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm also an idiot this week. Got Alonzo Menifield, Mana Martinez, Nick Maximov, Duško Todorović, Piera Rodriguez, and Brandon Royval.
Wow, that's a very good lineup that I will steal. Gordo, shit. Weezy, what do you got for your lineup?
I'm going with up top Victor Henry, and then I'm going with Duško Todorović. I've got Piera Rodriguez in there, Mana Martinez, and then at the bottom we got Jacob Malkoun and Brandon Royval.
All right, and then last thing for the night, guys, quick picks for the crew. Monk, start us off.
We'll go fuck it. Mike Jackson, Tatsuro Tyra, Piera Rodriguez, Victor Henry, Nick Maximov, Joe Anderson Brito, Mana Martinez, Alonzo Menifield, Duško Todorović, Askar Askarov, Jonathan Martinez, and Viviane Araujo.
All right, Gordo, what do you got?
Take Alexa Grasso in the main event. We're going to take Cub Swanson, Askar Askarov, Duško Todorović, Misha Cirkunov, Mana Martinez, Victor Henry, Nick Maximov, Joe Anderson Brito, Piera Rodriguez, Tatsuro Tyra, and Pete Rodriguez.
Weezy, what do you got?
I'm going with Alexa Grasso, Jonathan the Dragon Martinez, Askar Askarov, Duško Todorović. We got Misha Cirkunov, Mana Martinez, Victor Henry, Jacob Malkoun, Joe Anderson Brito is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Piera Rodriguez, Tatsuro Tyra, and Pete Rodriguez.
All right, and I will go with Alexa Grasso, Jonathan Martinez, solely because of what I saw today with Cub Swanson not talking, because I was going to play Cub. Brandon Royval, I'm going Jordan Wright, fuck it. Cirkunov, Mana Martinez, Nick Maximov, Victor Henry, Piera Rodriguez, Tetsuya Tyra, and Mike, by God, Jackson, by Yam Baggery. 20-1, book it. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Pub Sports, or is this Pub Sports? Is this Pub Culture?
Pub Sports.
Pub
Okay.
Sports.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Pub Sports.
You're back, baby.
Thank you, Pub Sports, for letting me sub for Brady when you had no idea I was subbing for Brady. Thank you for having me on your channel. I am available for certain engagements involving soccer, call me. Monk, tell the people where they can find you.
Just put out Game Theory on my Monk Maddox channel, where I go over all 12 fights from a DFS perspective. On the MMA Engine, you can find Salary Voodoo out now as well, where I cover 3 fights from a Salary Voodoo perspective. And other than that, I should have one more video coming out tomorrow. I believe Lou and I are moving our happy hour from Friday to Thursday this week, because he may or may not
Phillies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. He may or may not be doing Phillies related things. So check us out then. Other than that, guys, we got one more week till a real banger of a card, and that's all we're waiting for.
Gordo, where can the people find your sweet ass? Oh, I love you, Lou. Thank you for stepping in and making the show so much fun. You can find me on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I got a live stream in an hour and a half. We're doing 3 back-to-back live streams. The next one we're doing is on the Fight KO'd podcast. I'll be there any minute now doing a breakdown there. Either way, tons of content. Plays and Fades Sports on YouTube. Gordo Gambles on Twitter. Appreciate all of you. Best of luck on your bets this weekend.
Weezy, you're wrapping up your week, but where can the people find you? Are you doing Ask Weezy?
Yeah, Ask Weezy tonight, 10:30 Central Time on Uncle Weezy's YouTube channel, Pub Sports Radio, MMA Engine. Basically, anywhere you find dudes going balls deep on UFC statistics, you're going to find your Uncle Weezy there. Come find me. Let's go.
You can find me on the Twitters. I've been doing props to consider and then maybe bet on the MMA Engine tomorrow. Also, I've been putting out a lot of soccer picks, some good, some bad. A lot of NFL. With Gordo and Wiz, we're kind of like a consortium of geniuses putting out some cool stuff. So just look out for our tweets for that, because we are we're workshopping a lot of cool stuff, props, lines, we're maniacs. Unlike Wiz, I like plus odd shit. I'm busting Wiz's balls, of course. And that's it. That's all I got. And guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you to Pub Sports Radio. Good luck today and tonight on your DFS relationships, and have a great night. Goodbye.